morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. At the outset, I want to thank you on behalf of myself, Attorney Mr. Gulla, for the time and attention you paid to this case. The judge indicated this is called closing argument and closing statement. Probably all seen a great one on TV. I'm told the first one was given in Salem a couple hundred years ago. It's an opportunity for me to speak directly to you about the evidence in this case. It's the last opportunity I have to raise my voice up to you on behalf of Robert Gulla. As you're aware, your role, your job in this case is to decide the facts. You and you alone decide what the facts are in this case. Going to apply the law to the extent that I speak about the evidence in this case, as I will. And my memory differs than yours. It's your memory that controls. You'll decide the facts. You call at the outset, this is the case about nothing. That's my opinion. Responsibility here is to determine Robert's level of responsibility. Robert. Well, at the outset, later, what right? Relationships that are saturated with alcohol. Think of this. Two people that never should. Never should. I want to take a few minutes now to talk about Gulla, Myron, relationship. One of the things us here today. As you've heard of the mother, this is a young man at an early age, his first diagnosis with Asperger's. And you've heard of all the different traits, the repetitiveness, the isolation. The odd man out. Friend Derek Moore said, I kind of never got it. Never connected all the dots. And there's no disputing that. Even both doctors that you heard from both agree. Young man had mental illness from an early age. We heard that he was seen by doctors in 3rd, 4th grade. For a while he was on medication. That didn't seem to do much. Kind of stopped. He had an ed plan. That was it. And he managed his way through high school. And he attempted auto body and alcohol use. We heard last lesson. And it was what was his favorite thing about him. We heard as he grew, these same issues continuing with him. The isolation, by yourself. Only one real friend. 2, his friend was in Drew, and then he was Derek's friend because he was friends with Steve. That was it. We didn't hear about a line of friends. We didn't hear about a lot of socializing. That was him. That was him. What we did hear about was that Robert, in 2009, 2009, had significant disruption in his family. That his mom and his stepfather had been married to his mom for about 16, 17 years, divorced. And we heard about the impact of that on that family, and more so on Robert. We all know divorce is tumultuous for everybody. And here it was compounded by the loss of the family home. And while his mother, Kim, made arrangements, found another place to live, we heard when it came time to move, Robert won't go. Think about that. 18 years old, won't go. They leave, they move the furniture. He remains with the dog in the house in February for a couple of weeks, either heat, electricity, him and the dog, clutching on to folks long gone. And finally we learn, only when his mother comes over and takes the dog away, that Robert follows out the door. That tells you about him. That tells you about his isolation. That tells you about his sense of loss and his mental loss. We also heard about Robert's employment history. We heard that his stepfather managed to get a job in a warehouse one night a week. And at some point he lost that job. We heard that his stepfather again went to someone to a friend. Named Lamarca. Can you help me out? I'm trying to find some work for him. He went to get a job 1 day a week. At night, alone, driving the truck, delivering bread for about 180 miles. Isolation. Robert, that work. It suggests he was high functioning. Even being able to fill out an application at Debbie's staffing after being out of work for a couple of months, I would suggest it's high functioning. What do we hear about when he moves to Shirley? He goes to the basement. That's where he's living. That's his room. What do we hear? Yeah, he comes out of it. Plays his games. We heard about the repetitive noise, videos he plays, music he plays. And we learned that his friend Drew had moved. Gone to Colorado to live with his father. So now he's relying on Derek, Stephen's friend, as his main social contact. And they were good to him. They were good to him. They told you. Rod, drive you crazy, but you bring him out. He'd say the same joke until it drove you crazy. Where's Derek Hill? Let's glance you around him a few minutes, there's something wild about him. They were good to him. They will. So that brings us to September 2009. Derek is taking him up, taking him over to Pittsburgh State Fair. We already know by now that they've been drinking since their mid-teens at these bonfires. And there's some marijuana use. The alcohol is already a factor in his life. And at about the same time, beginning of September, we learn that Allison Myrick, she's a young woman beginning her college. We also learned that shortly before she began it, she'd some breakup with her long-standing boyfriend. So in the early weeks of September, it would appear to be maybe around the 15th to 20th, somewhere in that range, Robert is at Pittsburgh with Derek. And they've done all the off-campus parties. They spoke of those side streets. Where you paid to get in, so you cut to drink. And we were told how they had already worked through all of those. And they're now back on campus. And Derek, to his surprise and amazement, looks over and sees Rob with the girl. He had never, ever seen him with a girl before. He described to us, touching her hair, holding hands. At some point they were kissing. He was amazed. What do we also learn? The girl was intoxicated. Use other words, lucky coffee, that's how it's standing. Relationship with one and alcohol, like both of them. Both of them. And on that night, Derek said before they left campus, they made sure that Alice Myrick could over to the Russell Towers. Then we heard that Bob actually took her out on a date, went to a restaurant or a movie a few days later. The scene of romance. That'd be occurred. In the year of 925, we heard a lot of discussion about September 25. And on that, what did we learn? We learned that friend, Abby Brown, steps outside, looks outside, and sees her friend Allison, who she met a few weeks before school began. And she sees her having a discussion with the guy. And she sees a big bottle between them. She goes in to see Mr. Reese. And she recalls in cross-examination, shown in the report, when she said to him, I'm concerned for the man out there, the young man. He's going to go out, the kid, he's going to go out on campus. He's really intoxicated. Concerned for his safety. It's a concern for Allison. But it was for Robert Gulla, who was intoxicated. What did she also tell us? She could smell alcohol on her friend Allison, and she knew her to drink a lot. That's 3 weeks in school. Knew her to drink a lot. Again. One of alcohol. Over the next month, we heard different accounts of parties and events, and at each and every one, alcohol was a factor. We heard of Halloween party, might have been 2, or maybe it was the same one. Getting along fine, but drinking a lot. One of them, they all get thrown out because Allison gets in a fight or arguing with somebody. By the end of October, early November, we hear Rob calling, asking Emma Weissman to come over to the Neshoba Valley. He had brought Allison over there for acute alcohol ingestion, and the hospital wouldn't let either one of them go because of the drinking. Yeah, we don't hear too much about other incidents throughout that month that seem to get along. When it comes to December, what do we learn? We learned from a young fellow named John O'Brien that he had been to one of them, actually this really socialized. Somewhere in the late November, early December, the relationship between he and Allison changed. And he knew the date, December 3rd, it became romantic. He seemed happy and excited. Over the next few days, they spent all their time together. He understood it to be exclusive. It was him. He knew this guy who, he really thought that was apparently not the case anymore. At least it's his understanding. We hear about December 10th. What Christmas? We hear about the night. We hear an broad reaction to the rage, anger. Then his mother kind of calmed down, and his mother falls. Mother. Brother won't calm down. Steve kind of calmed down. He's very upset. We find out that he's upset over 2 things. A discussion about whether Allison was pregnant, later shown by and about text messages. John O'Brien was texting that day. Other man. Other person. We've heard it. How he smashes that phone. He breaks that phone. When the police come, they place him under arrest. And they instruct the to get an emergency restraining order for Allison. She never follows up. And you think most people at this point in time, the person that just got arrested, you just found out this person that was dating that he had so much more that suddenly doesn't want you anymore. We call it a day and say, time to move on. Made a mistake. But Rob tried to connect the dots. He tried to connect the dots. So a few days later, Allison goes back and tells John about this night event, and then continues on to take exams over the next few days. John goes home happy and content that he has his new girlfriend, unaware that Allison is going back to staying locked up. Rob did not connect the dots to say, I'm done with this. I don't need this. I got in trouble because of this. Not at all. They're there right up to Christmas Eve. We don't hear of any problems. We hear of a intense relationship. Otherwise, we would have heard of it. And we hear that on December 24th, Allison's mother comes to the house and says, "Come home, please come home. It's Christmas." And then she leaves. What do we do? Day after Christmas, she's right back. Right back to that house. Right back staying. Where's Derek Moore? What do you remember? They had a fun evening. You remember being there night or two after Christmas? She's there. They were playing some games, apples to apples, and it seemed like a fun, normal night. And over the next month, it appears Allison's both at home and at Bob's. And we don't hear any problems. One of the things you'll have throughout the material as exhibit about all the text conversation, and then the condensed version, which goes to January 17th. Please read it, because that's crucial and critical to understand and assess. When you do, you'll see that Allison, even when at home, would oftentimes late at night contact Rob. They come together. And I believe it's January 17th. And late in the evening, text to Rob, "I want to see you tonight. Come get me." And I think you'll see the text messages back and forth as he's describing where he is, how close he is, and he picks her up. She goes back and spends the night again at the fellow home. And in the morning, you'll see a text between her and her mother, where she's saying to her mother, "Hey, I spent the night with Ross. Did you get my message?" And her mother acknowledges that she did. Later that day, he goes home. That would now be the 18th. You'll see again in those texts, she's looking out at the welcome room. She's going to go over to her friends from Groton last night before she goes back to school. And you see at some point, she's not managed to get the money, her mother won't get any, she's very upset. At one point she's saying, "I don't get no money. I'll be stuck, I'll have to go hang out with Rob tonight." But her friends manage to come up with enough money, and she gets to go out with her friends. And you see late into that evening, she now texts Rob, "Come pick me up, I want to see you, I want to be with you." She's back. "Here I am." Describing her friend's house. So where's that? How will I find it? She talks about there being snow. Maybe you'll see a text from Ross. "Oh, that's a problem. My mom will know that I took the van. The tracks in the snow will tell her I had the van. What does that tell you about me? 19 years old. No, I took the van." Ultimately, he's not able to go for the water. Later that day, she goes back to school. They have a conversation. You'll see in those texts now, she's also having a conversation with John and Brian. "Looking forward to seeing you. Can't wait to see you. Love you, babe. Love you, babe." You'll hear how he goes back to school, the normal settle in. You'll see calls from Rob trying to contact her, not hearing back. And then you come to the 19th. Yes, that comes. Because on the 19th, Rob figures out John O'Brien is not only there, they've been an item, released them up. And if you remember, John told us he had posted something about the month anniversary. It was on Facebook or text. I think it's pretty clear. Rob becomes aware of it. He's angry and upset. He's hurt. Then rejected again. normal person might be angry and upset, but they might also say, I'm done with this. Sure, all of us, at some point in our life, get some relationship, platonic or otherwise. We've found rejection. We know how much it hurts. We know the instinct is that I'm done. Here's a fellow that has been arrested, got a restraining order, that's being told, I've got someone else, kicked to the curb, being not connecting the dots. It's the mental illness. Alice becomes aware of it and calls. He goes down to the campus police and they take her back over to the Pittsburgh courthouse. Get another restraining order. And we heard from John that he's with her. And that he can hear in some of these calls that she does accept, he can hear Rob's voice. And he told us about one when she puts the phone on speakerphone. He says, Rob, I'm getting a restraining order and I'm with John right now. I'm with him right now. You're done. Repudiation. We heard. Rob reacts angrily. I'll beat up John. At that point in time, the normal person would leave and say, I'm done with this. What do we hear? A few hours later, we're looking at next police officer. He's at the Gulla residence, and he's serving Rob with a restraining order. And in that restraining order, he's telling him, you can't contact, stay away, no contact, or all these things can happen. What happened? Contact from Rob. Sits in the basement. Meanwhile, back at campus, Allison and John back, settling into school, getting ready, going out to have a few drinks. We heard an awful lot about Thirsty Thursdays, and we learned a lot about college lifestyle. And what we're also seeing again, the alcohol consumption. We hear the 19th, 20th, the Phillies on quiet. Lots not talking, lots not walking. We get to the 21st, Thursday night. What do we hear? That John, Allison, Abby, and Jerry get a handler of vodka. To correctly describe, that's a big bottle of vodka with a big handle. And they start drinking. And we hear from Abby that, well, whether it's Thursday night or Friday night, that when she gets ready to leave, Allison's like she usually is when she's drunk. She's jumping up and down, she's boisterous, she's jumping on. We hear that Abby wasn't drinking much. She was coming from a concussion, but she did drink a couple of sodas straight up vodka. And they leave. John told that he and Allison continue to drink. On the computer or watch TV or whatever. At some point, Allison wants to go get a cigarette. She goes up. What did she do? She starts calling Chris Brown, his boyfriend. She broke up before she went to school. And she starts calling Rob Gulla. See it in John's face, you hear his voice. He wasn't happy. I love you, Rob. I want to be with you. Not once. You see those calls 10, 12 times. Calling, his message, speaking. How can I do that? Contact with her. We saw John O'Brien, his reaction to the rejection. Oh, it was hard to say. Felt that sense of betrayal, that sense of hurt, that sense of loss, that sense of anger. Told he couldn't get her to stop making a phone call. He stood up there like freezing. And finally she tells him, go away. Go away. What does he say? Does he go back and ask her whether she wants her clothes out of his room or takes them out? Your memory control. I believe he may have asked her. Takes all her clothes up, leaves them all in the corner. She's still on the phone, go away. What do we hear what John did? sits outside his room on the floor. So I stood in the hall for a while. And then he goes inside. He's still hurting. Just you, came 3 months just again. And he had a network of friends. You'll see in those texts when you look through them. You'll see John texting his friends. Matt, wake up! Wake up! About 2:30 in the morning. Allie's been playing me the whole time. She just dumped me. That's a normal reaction. You're hurt. You reach out. And you see later in the day, his friends getting back to him. I can't believe it. You think you want to get back with her? And John's saying, I don't think I want to. And as we saw and heard John, he was able to process. He was able to say, it must be the alcohol. He was able to talk to his friends to try to get some understanding of why this happened. Like Rob, I connected the dots. And even the next day, John, you can sense when you read these emails, text, that he's still angry. What do you have to say about last night? You go back and forth. You'll see that Alan says, what do you mean about last night? You remember last night? Of course I remember last night. Finally, she responds back, me being me when I'm shit-faced. John saying, but it's not right. You also see right in the middle of that, text from Robert Gulla. I want to see it. Then you heard that she and John meet and walk across the campus. And they sort of set aside the incident of the night before, chalking it up to alcohol. And that perhaps is indicative of youth. They go right back that night and drink again. Finish the rest of that handle. Start it all over. No response. Well, excuse me, there is. If you learn, that Allison, you know, text her, wow, I want to see you. Why don't you come down to school tonight? And she tells Abby Brown about that. And around 6 or 7 before they go up to the one. And Abby says, hey, that's not a good idea. That's just not a good idea. I think when you read the text, you'll say, it's not safe for him to come in. Get in trouble. That's not. Tell him not to come. And you're going to see the text where Allison will say, don't come down. This man class with us tonight. Don't come down. But you got to be saying to yourself, hey, what's the matter with Robert Gulla? Why would you even be talking to her? Less than 48 hours before, in a restraining order, and she's got telling you John O'Brien's right with her. Not connecting the dots. Just do that to mental illness. A healthy dose of alcohol. After that, we hear again that Allison, Abby, Jared, all of what's in John's room. It's like a replay of the night before. John said he took a little lighter on the alcohol that night. He and Mike took one the first night before. I think we can appreciate that. I'm sure he was still a little leery, a little sensitive. And around 11 o'clock or so, after Abby and Jared had left, we hear that Allison says, I'm going to go down to my room for a while. I may or may not be back up. What do we do now? Next. I want you to please understand. Once. Sexy part of it. You'll see in there, you've heard, what does Rob do? Say, McGavin, are you crazy? I'm all done with you. Leave me alone. But a normal 19-year-old thinking this is not going to work out, but I'm done. I'm done with the kind of connects the dots. Suppose he wakes up with his mother. Please, I need to borrow the pen. I got to go get Alan. right back up. It's rough. Back. Read the text that they come back and forth. We learn that they're there the next night, they're there the next day. And I think one thing that we know is that they were still drinking. Heard a lot about whether Rob was drinking or not. At the end of the day, read that text. Look at the report, emergency room physician, Dr. Galvin. One of his diagnoses was intoxicated, 3 different places. The final diagnosis was intoxicated. He also learned on the autopsy that Alan blood alcohol. What do we get? They're back there during the day, and Rob's mother had worked today. She had this appointment, so she provides something to get the race back to the house. When she comes in at 4:30, she hears arguing. She hears both voices arguing with each other. And she's upset at that. She calls down to Rob, what's going on? Come up here. And we hear that Rob comes up. He says, no big deal, it's nothing, it's nothing. And we heard her say that she calls down to Allison. Says, Allison, do you want me to give you a ride? We know she had given a ride many times before. The answer back is no. She said she heard Allison saying, Rob, go ahead, call 911. Call 911. Sometime in that next half hour, all of the things that we heard. What do we know in the interim? We know that she's been receiving texts. We know she sent texts. One of the texts was, I made it what John Galvin's looking for. You're right. What happened? I made a terrible mistake. I'm at Rob's. And then you'll see this series of texts back and forth about I'll meet you on the train, I'm nervous, I'm sick, I'll call my mother. This instance, perfect storm. They both have significant alcohol on board. We have Rob, who has not connected the dots at any time. And now finally, right in front of him, is the ultimate rejection. Once again, less than 48 hours after he had been served with the restraining order, and we're telling him, I'm here with John O'Brien. It's right back in. Then he's going back again. And I suggest to you, in that swell of anger, rage, hopelessness, Rob acts and lashes out. And this horrible event occurs. We even see his words. Never wanted this to happen. When you consider the testimony of both doctors, you still find there was, despite the different diagnosis, there was a lot of commonality. They both agreed he had long-term mental illness since he was a young man. Many of the symptoms, I guess for lack of better words, the overlap found in Asperger's was also in the personality disorder as found by Dr. Brower, as well as in Dr. Weiss. We agree. One of the problems was having a problem with intimate relationships. And remember, we're asking her, fair to say, first relationship would probably be the most difficult. She had to agree. When you consider this mental illness, consider Dr. Klein's opinion that he could not form the intent, he could not form, what they say, the premeditation, the judge can instruct him on the law. He acted in rage. There was no ability because of his mental impairment and his alcohol intoxication to form that premeditation. As you consider his level of responsibility, I I suggest to you, Commonwealth has not yet heard proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Murder in the first degree. I suggest to you, at best, they've met second degree. I'm asking you to give careful consideration to all this evidence. I never wanted this to happen. Just not control.